Buddhism, Jainism, and all these are therefore being synthesized and being organized in Hinduism. And here we find that the mostly appropriate word which have been used in context to that of Hinduism is known as Sanatana Dharma. It is Sanatana means eternal, having no beginning or no end. It is therefore secular in that sense. So we are going to discuss the most important philosophy and religion of this particular faith that is known as Hinduism. Before going to in detail, that we have to keep in mind that Hindu scriptures are there, and we must have a very brief idea about the Hindu scriptures. While discussing Hinduism, we have to discuss the scriptures, the religion, and the practices, the philosophy, and all these things. So, to give a brief idea about scriptures in Hinduism, we can very well say that the Hindu scriptures refers to our Vedic literature, or Vedic scriptures, which can be broadly being classified in two categories. It is known as Shruti and Smruti, or Smruti Shastra and Shruti Shastra. Smruti Shastra. Shruti refers to Veda, and that Veda known as Shruti because that was nothing in a written document, it was therefore remembered. And that's why it is known as Shruti, that is being learned by means of hearing from the teachers or gurus. And that Shruti that refers to the Veda, which are four different types. And the Vedic period refers to 500 years, that is 6500 BC. And in due course of time, the Vedas have been therefore developed, and Vedas otherwise also known as Apurushaya, that is, there is no fixed, a particular individual or Purusha who has therefore written this Veda that have been developed in due course of time by different seers. And this Veda are of four different types, known as Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. Rig Veda is the ancient one, which is in praise of the gods and deities, that is in form of the mantras or hymns. And it is believed that Rig Veda contains 1028 hymns, and that is in both prose and in poetic, in prose and poetry, in both the forms you can very well find. And this is the prayers which are being offered to different gods and deities like Agni, Surya, Varuna, Rudra, Maruta, Usa, and so many others. And with a particular objective in mind. Either it is with the objective of getting wealth or food or progeny or victory. Anyway, that means with a particular objective that these prayers are being offered to different deities and gods, and that mantras therefore come under the Rig Veda. Then second is known as Yajur Veda, and that contains 3,988 verses. It is therefore the compilation of the mantras in rhythmic pose. And this is therefore mantras which have been uttered by the priest at the time of different rituals and sacrifices. And third one is known as Samaveda, and that Samaveda is very that is in musical form, and that is therefore very musical chants, melodies are there, and it is a collection of 1,540 verses. And mostly we know that the music, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, and that therefore has the that has come out of this Samveda, and therefore Samaveda contains this music. Anyway, the Sama was also musical in that sense. And the last one is known as Atharvaveda. Sometimes it has been believed that Atharvaveda is an interpolation, or that has been there for extrapolation which have been added later on. But anyway, that is the fourth one. They are the four Vedas. And these four Vedas, all these Vedas, they do have four aspects. And they are known as the Samhita, then Mantra, then Brahmana, and then Aranyaka. They are the four different aspects of different Vedas. And Brahmana therefore refers to the liturgical texts, and this is the sacrificial rituals, and that is therefore the enchanted by the Brahmins or by the priests at the time of different rituals and sacrifices. So also the second one is Sahita is the collection of all the mantras, and the third one is known as Aranyaka, that is known as forest text. And where in seclusion these seers, they do have their the philosophic thoughts, and that therefore give rise to the fourth one, that is known as your Upanishad. And Upanishad literally means Upanishad, that is sitting nearby the teacher and listening to him, and through Sravana Manana Nidhyasana, therefore that is therefore being one therefore contemplates over the truth with this process of Sravana Manana Nidhyasana. Anyway, these are the different aspects of your Upanishad, Vedas, and Vedas broadly is having two aspects, two parts. One is known as Karma Kanda, other is known as Jnana Kanda. And this Jnana Kanda, the speculative aspect, that refers to your Upanishads. And these Upanishads are many in number, but 108 Upanishads are generally being accepted, out of which 10 Upanishads are being taken as the major Upanishads. And these 10 Upanishads are, we can really say, that like Isopanishad, Kenopanishad, Kathopanishad, Prashnopanishad, Mundaka, Mandukya, Taittiriya, like this. These are therefore the important major Upanishads, therefore they are named as such. And so some Upanishads are in poetic form, and some are in prose form. Anyway, and these Upanishads therefore known as also the Vedanta, because Vedanta means Vedasya Anta, the concluding portion of Veda, and this Vedanta or Upanishad, that therefore deals with the philosophy of Vedic knowledge, and that means it is known as Vedic philosophy. And therefore, this is your Upanishads. Then Smriti Shastra, that is therefore known as that which have been therefore remembered. Smriti means remembered. And these Shastras that have been developed after the Shruti Shastra, the philosophical aspect of Shruti that have been therefore clarified by in the different literatures which have been developed later on, and that is known as your Shruti Shastra or Smriti Shastra or scriptures. And these Shruti scriptures, they again we find they are having these different aspects like known as Dharma Shastra, Nibandha, Purana, Epic, Agama, Darshana, and Vedanga or Upaveda. Like this, the different aspects are being there. Dharma Shastra, which therefore deals with the course and conduct, and then you can give an example of Manusmriti and other Smritis are there, which are known as Dharma Shastra. Nibandhas are known as the encyclopedia, Vedic encyclopedia, and Puranas, as you know, which are 18 number, and in which you will find the Puranas like Vishnu Purana, Shiva Purana, like this, in which you will find that the Vedic truth that have been therefore discussed or elaborately being explained in different Puranas. And besides, we also get the another aspect known as epic, and the epic is known as Itihasa, which illustrates the ideal of personal, social, and public life, and that is mostly illustrated in two important epics known as Mahabharata and Ramayana. That is two important epics of our Hinduism or Hindu philosophy. Next is known as Agama, and Agama also known as Tantras, and that is therefore being developed later on, then known as Darsana or philosophy. And in philosophy, as you have to, it is to be pointed out that in philosophy, we find two schools are there, Astika and Nastika, that the Astika school that believe in the authenticity or authoritativeness of Veda, and Nastika school they do not believe Veda, they are known as Nastika. And this distinction is not on the basis of God, believing in God or not believing in God, but it is on basis of the accepting Veda as the authority or not. And here we find Saradarsana in philosophy, six philosophical systems like your Asankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. They come under the um, first category, and they believe the authenticity of Veda, and the second category that includes this Jainism, Buddhism, and Charvaka philosophy. Anyway, this is known as Darsana, and the next is known as your Vedanga or and Upaveda, and Vedanga that is there for limbs of Veda, which again you can find that different types like Sikkha, um, Chanda, Nirukta, Vyakarana, Jyotisha, Kalpa, they are all therefore comes under this Vedangas. And Upaveda, that is known as the subsidiary Vedas, which are of the four kinds, and they are like your Ayurveda, which teaches the science of ancient medicine, Indian systems of medicine, the Arthashastra, um, and Dhanurvidya, Gandhara Vidya, these are all therefore comes under the Upaveda. This is in detail, not in detail, but in brief, we can say this is the very different aspects of the Vedic literature. Then, coming then to Vedic deities, we can well say that there is a difference between the Upanishadic philosophy and Vedic philosophy. In Vedic philosophy or Vedic period, we find that is a pluralism. Pluralism in the sense that it believes in many realities. And it is a commonly believed that 33 crores of gods and goddesses are being there. But in Upanishad, it is therefore absolute monism, and therefore believes only one reality, which mostly being named as Brahman. That is the distinction between Upanishad and that of your Veda. And Veda, so many gods and deities have been there, and prayer and offerings that have been offered to different gods and deities with definite purpose, and that is therefore the pluralistic philosophy of that is your Veda or Vedic deities. And with regard to the Jagya in Vedic Jagya or Vedic sacrifices, Jagya is sacrifice, and whether we find different type of sacrifices that have been therefore being prescribed in Veda, and you find the sacrifices particularly which have been offered to different gods and deities, and there are different in number, but mainly we find that is the sacrifices which have been offered by the common man to the gods and others also. They are known as the Devajagya, which have been offered to the gods. And similarly, there is also Bhutajagya, which have been offered to the different beings. Pitrujagya, which have been there for the sacrifice to the departed souls, Pitrus. Similarly, Brahmajagya also being there, and that is therefore being offered to different Vedic texts. And lastly, there is also this Manusha Yajna, which they are also being offered sacrifices to men. And that means in Vedic period, this Yajna that has been highlighted. So also if you go to the Gita, there are also these Yajna, which are about different types that have been also being explained. Rabya Yajna, Guna, Jnana Yajna, so many types of Yajnas are being there. And that is with all these objective to have good health, good strength, sons, victory, heaven, and attain the immortality. All these are the objectives, keeping which the yajnas are being therefore being performed. And with regard then to then Purusha Sukta, here that is another important aspect of our Hinduism, that is known as Purusha Sukta. Here, Purusha Sukta means these suktas are being there, which is known as Purusha Sukta, that is cosmic sacrifice, where the reality is being described as a primordial person, and in praise of which, therefore, these suktas are being offered. And I'm not going in detail. Let me give just two verses from this Purusha Sukta. The first verse is like this: Sasa Sansar Purusha Sasakhya Sasapat Sabhuming Vishwatu Mritya Tyatistat Vasangulam. This is the description of this Purusha, who is this absolute being. He is described like this: the Purusha, which is therefore universal being, has 1,000 heads, 1,000 eyes, and 1,000 feet. He envelops the world from all sides and extends beyond in the 10 directions. And second verse goes like this: Purusha Vedam Sarvam Jat Bhutam Jat Bhavyam Tattam Mrutattvasya Sano Jat Anena Rohati. The meaning thereby, the Purusha is indeed all this in a sense, that which existed in the past, that which will exist in future. Everything is woven by the immortal essence of the great Lord, by becoming food of which one transcends the gross world. That means here, in Purusha Sukta, this belief is there, that this is the universal being who is being described like this, and that universal being, by offering our prayers and yajnas and sacrifices, that we can therefore be liberated. We can liberate us from this involved from the vicious circle of death and birth. That is the objective here in the Purusha Sukta. That is another important aspect of our Hindu philosophy. Then comes the Hindu sanskaras. And going to these Hindu sanskaras, we can really say that in Hinduism, we find a number of sanskaras there. They are known as sacraments, starting from the very conception to that of the death. And um, this is being performed, that is with a very noble thought in the mind. So therefore, this is praised that for the progeny, and that which will take care of the next generation, and for that reason this is the different sanskaras or sacraments have been performed. The first one is known as Garbhadana, and that is therefore the seeking the help from God or praying God to have a progeny, to a child, and that child will become the future who can also give presence to society, and in that way the society will grow, and that is how the God is being prayed to just give a particular presidency in form of a child. And the second, in that way the sanskara goes on, then comes this Punsavanam, and the third sanskara is known as your Simanthano Nayanam, and this is therefore during that of pregnancy, the mother, and therefore that is there within the pregnancy period. Then the child is being born, so therefore the birth ceremony is being performed, that is known as Jata Karma. The child is therefore, after the birth, the this sanskara in which therefore is being given a name, and his, that the father here therefore welcomes the newborn child and praying for his new life and for his well-being, wisdom, and live in the society with happiness and prosperity. And the next sanskara is known as Namakarana, you know it very well. That is therefore he is being given a particular name in a particular function, that is Namakarana. Then comes your Niskramana, and then Arnaprasana. All these things you know very well. Arnaprasana, which have been therefore given Arna at the age of 4 or 6 months. What I think, 6 months, yes. Then Chudakaranam, this is the rite of the transfer ceremony. Then comes Karnaveda, that is Karnaveda, that is the piercing of the earbud lobes, both the earlobes, that is piercing, this is Karnaveda. Or then comes your Vidyarambha. You know that when the Vidyarambha starts, I think it is when the child becomes 4 years, 4 months and 4 days, this Vidyakarana, that therefore starts. And then comes your Upanayana. That Upanayana is mostly being performed by the Brahmins, but this Upanayana is a particular um, sacrament which is meant for the women, which is being prepared in the
Your camera is on.
okay. Is there any problem? Is there any problem? Okay. Then comes your Upanayana, then comes your Samvartanam, and then marriage, and that is the Grahastha life, and then comes the last one, the when one dies, and therefore the funeral rites that has also come at that end. In this way, that in Hinduism we come across this, the sacraments and sanskaras have been there. And then comes the next part is known as the Hindu virtues. And in the virtues, in that sense, we can find that it gives to the different virtues, mostly the 5 important virtues which almost all the Hindu scriptures and the systems they do emphasize. That is known as your Satya, Ahimsa, Asteya, Parigraha, and that of what? Brahmacharya. Satya is known as the following the truthfulness. Ahimsa is the non-violence that is to be followed by all. Then Parigraha, Asteya first, then Asteya means non-stealing, and Parigraha then non-possessiveness, and self-control, that is known as celibacy or self-control, that is known as the Brahmacharya. These are the more important virtues which have been prescribed by the Hindus. Besides this, we find also all the human values that is also being highlighted, like to develop is self-control, tolerance, then with hospitality, compassion, daya, kama, uh, respect to all living beings, and following the right path, performing different austerities, celibacy, honesty. All these are there for different virtues, which are both the cardinal virtues as well as human values, and all they have been highlighted and therefore being prescribed in Hinduism, and that makes a man perfect, and that is to be followed. And our scriptures, even our the Dharma Shastras, you will find these Smritis, Manusmriti and others, in which they have also prescribed a number of virtues which are to be inculcated by each and every human being to become a perfect human being. And then let us come to the other part of Hinduism, in which we have to discuss the Hindu sources of Hindu philosophy. That is, we have to discuss this, what are the sources of Hindu philosophy. Here, in sources of Hindu philosophy refers to about the already I've told you this Shruti Shastra, and the Smriti Shastra, which again have different types, and all they are there for the very the source of our Hindu philosophy. Besides this is Gita and Vedanta Sutra and others. That is also gives us the knowledge of the Hindu philosophy, and therefore these are the different sources from which we have the Hindu philosophy. Then the Hindu metaphysics. In this connection, let us try to understand what is metaphysics. Metaphysics means the reality. That means that which is beyond our metaphysical world, the physical world. That is metaphysics. Then what is reality? In that connection, we have to understand that it is our Hinduism is mostly absolute, it believes in absolute monism. Though Vedanta talks about this pluralism, but taking this Upanishadic philosophy into account, that we find the Hindus that believe in monism, absolute monism. So also they do believe in the number of gods and deities, and that is therefore that is also being there, because these gods and deities, they come from the Brahman. Brahman is the ultimate root, ultimate reality from which everything has come, starting from the living, non-living gods, everything that has been there created come out of this Brahman. So the Brahman is the ultimate reality who has therefore created everything, including that of God, and that's why it retains this absolute monism in Hinduism. And this with regard to concept of Brahman, we have to be explain, give a very brief idea about this Brahman. The Brahman, that almost in all different Upanishads we find the descriptions of Brahman is being there, although sometimes we find the name is varies from Brahman to Isa and like this. But anyway, the reality is one, that is known as the Brahman. And there is it suggests that there is a fundamental kinship is there between the aspiring man and the object of aspiration, that is the Brahman. and which is therefore clearly being explained in Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, that is Jiva Brahmeva Na Paraha. That Brahman is the ultimate reality, the absolute reality, and Jiva is non-different from that Brahman. And therefore, that Brahma Jnana and Atma Jnana must one have. And once you get this knowledge, then one will become free from the vicissitude of death and birth. That is the story. In different Upanishad, the description of Brahman is being there, having the same description, that is Brahman is one, which is also sometimes known as Tajran, and or Isa in his Upanishad, that out of which everything has come, starting from that of the non-living, the living beings, including God, they have come from the same reality, that is Brahman. For example, if I say that Taittiriya Upanishad points out that from which all these things are born, and to which everything they live, in which they everything live, and at the end they enter into, that is known as Brahman. From Brahman, therefore, here, from which everything manifests, that is sustained in it, and also at the end they enter into it. That is therefore in on that is the Brahman, which is therefore the absolute reality. With regard to the Brahman, it is being said that Brahman cannot be described. It is therefore having no name, no form, no description, Anadi, Ananta. So that is the description of Brahman. But therefore Brahman cannot be described. But taking the very nature of the Brahman, that it can be said to be, that Brahman can be said to be Sachidananda Sarupa or Sat, Chit and Ananda. So taking that into account, Brahman can be described like that is immanent and transcendent, though he is transcendent by its own nature, true nature, but also it is immanent in the sense that it is manifested in form of the empirical world. And the empirical world is therefore nothing but manifestation of Brahman. And Brahman is both immanent as also transcendent, beyond everything, space, time, condition, and therefore it is transcendent in that sense. And Brahman is therefore is not limited by space and time. That's why he's beyond space and beyond time, and that's why he's known as the non-spatial and non-temporal. Brahman is also impersonal. Means Brahman cannot be personified. Okay, when we talk about person, we attribute different attributes, and here he is beyond descriptions and attributions, and therefore he cannot be said to be personal. He is something impersonal, and also is non-causal in the sense that he is the cause of everything, but he cannot be caused by anything. That means he is the absolute cause, but or causasvi, but he is not being caused by anything. So also he is therefore having no attributes, attributeless, and having no name and form. That is how they find the description of the Brahman in different Upanishads, and that is the ultimate reality which we believe, and that Brahman is also not different from Atman. Atman here, in the sense, one has to remember, Atman here refers to the reality that which from the subjective point of view. The reality is being viewed from two perspectives, objective and subjective. From objective standpoint, he is known as Brahman, whereas from subjective standpoint, he is known as Atman. That is with a pure consciousness as essence. Therefore, this Atman and Brahman, they are not separate or independent. They refer to one and the same reality. And here also we get a particular concept of Saguna Brahma and Nirguna Brahma, and this set of conception is there particularly in Advaita Vedanta. The Saguna Brahma and Nirguna Brahma, Para Brahma or Apara Brahma, Karana Brahma or Karja Brahma. These are the different descriptions we get. That, as already I have told you, that Brahman being the absolute reality, he is therefore beyond space and beyond time. He is beyond causation also. He is not caused by anything, but he is the cause of everything. And in that sense, he is therefore absolute, and that Brahman in Nirguna Brahma, and that is also known as Para Brahma. That is, Para Brahma here means the absolute, the transcendental reality. That is therefore the Brahman. And this is known as Nirguna Brahma, without any attribute. Because if you attribute any attribute to Brahman, then he becomes limited. He will cease to be Brahman. He will cease to be absolute. He will be conditional and relative. That's why he is known as the Param Brahma or Absolute Brahma, or that is therefore Nirguna Brahma or Para Brahma. And in Nirguna Brahma, Saguna Brahma refers to the Brahma in the sense that it refers to God, and who is the creator, preserver, destroyer, who is also the cause of everything, who possesses all the attributes. Therefore, he is Saguna, or that is known as the Apara Brahma or lower Brahma. So this distinction we find particularly with regard to our Vedanta philosophy, and this Brahma, Nirguna Brahma, cannot be known but can be realized. But while we describing Brahma, we cannot describe him by means of language, because he is beyond language and our conception even. So therefore, he cannot be described. But it can be said in negative description, like neti, niti, noiti. Brahman is not this, not this, not this. By this negative description, we may describe him, but really he is beyond all sort of descriptions. With regard to the Mahavakyas, and these Mahavakyas we find in our Upanishads, and this Upanishad philosophy already I have told you, that gives us transcendental monism, that gives the knowledge of the reality, which is the absolute reality, that is Brahman, and we get the knowledge that this Atman, or so to say Atma, Jivatma, individual soul, which is non-different from that Brahman. That sort of identity or that sort of realization, therefore, we find in Upanishad, and that is being expressed in form of the Mahavakyas. For example, the Mahavakyas are Ayam Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi. These are all Mahavakyas. Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, that thy art, means you are the Brahman. Or say Ayam Atma Brahma, I am the Brahman. So these are the Mahavakyas, and that is being described in different Upanishads, and that therefore gives us the knowledge that Atma, Paramatma, that is individual soul and absolute soul, they are not different, they are one. Because of ignorance, we fail to realize it, and we therefore take the unreal as real. We take out the body as real, and mind is real. The body-mind complex, that is therefore is taken as the reality. The empirical world is being taken as reality, but the identity between Jiva and Absolute, that therefore we fail to realize. Anyway, this is your Mahavakya. Then we have to come the Hindu religious concepts and practices. With regard to this, that in Hinduism we find that is a belief in the Jivatma, and the Jivatma, as you know, it is believed that it is Saswata, eternal, infinite, absolute, having no death. It is therefore only transmigrates from one body to other, and that is well described in our Bhagavad Gita. And that is our tradition regarding this soul, that is transmigratory. It only transmigrates. In Gita, you know that it is being described that just like when our old clothes that is turned out, then that is being replaced by the new cloth. So also when the body is being destroyed or dies, the Atma never dies, that only transmigrates, leaves the body and enters into new body. This is what the description of the soul, which is therefore that transmigrates. And in law of karma, that is the another important aspect of Hindu philosophy, law of karma, doctrine of karma, which explains that believes that as you sow, so shall you reap. Means you will incur the result of your karma, taking the nature of your karma. That as you so socially means if you perform good action, then you will get good result. If you perform bad action, then that will give you to bad result. So good, bad, that is a result. That all depends on the nature of the karma, what you perform. And therefore, here, if somebody is engaged in evil karmas, and evil karmas is possible by means of ignorance. Ignorance means ignorance regarding the reality, and also ignorance regarding the self, individual self, Atma. And therefore, here, taking the Atma, Anatma as Atma, taking the unreal as the real, taking this body and mind as real, so therefore one forgets the true nature of the reality and therefore try to enjoy this life, and that therefore gives him the suffering, puts into suffering of vicious circle of death and birth, Jara Marana Chakra. That is the suffering. And therefore he goes in the cycle of birth and death so long he is in having this ignorance. But once you realize that he is non-different from that of absolute, and he is therefore one with the absolute, then that is that can possible by means of this Atma Jnana and Brahma Jnana, then that leads him to freedom, mukti, or liberation. So therefore, here the transmigration of soul is there so long where we believe that so long we are in the this cycle of birth and death, therefore the body only dies, this soul therefore transmigrates, leaves the old body and enters into the new body, and that is the whole thing. But once he gets liberated, one gets liberated, he therefore leaves everything and one become one with the absolute. That is the he gets liberation, freedom, mukti. And then comes the then the most important thing is Hindu of religion, Hinduism, that is Hindu ethics, which is most important. And Hindu ethics here gives talks about the ashrama dharma, varna dharma, and prusartha. These are therefore the important concepts in connection to Hindu ethics. Ethics aims at the that how can one get the ultimate goal of life, that is freedom, or how can one attain the samam banam of life, that is therefore the whole study of ethics. And therefore, taking that into account, here we find in Hinduism that are scriptures that have been therefore the different stages of life. And these stages of life is known as the ashrama dharma. Before going to the ashrama dharma, let us discuss first at the varna dharma. Varna dharma, the reference you can really get with regard to varna dharma in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, you know, there is a sloka known as Chaturvarna Maya Sushta Guna Karma Vivavasa. That here Arjuna is being inferred, or Sri Krishna therefore talks with Arjuna and says that, oh, Arjuna, that these four varnas which have been therefore created by me. How? By taking their guna and karma. So guna and karma, that is the basis, on basis of which these four varnas have been created. Here, one thing you have to keep in mind: varna should not be misunderstood as jati. Jati is refers to caste, and the caste therefore of higher caste, lower caste, and all these things. These are the the casteism or this caste system that have been developed later on. But when talking about this varna, varna meaning is here that taking the potentiality and propensity, guna and karma. Karma refers to the potentialities, samarthya, and guna refers to the propensity or disposition. That taking into account the whole society is being classified into four categories. the whole society, I mean human society, is being classified into four classes in the sense that they have different duties, and that the duties they have been assigned according to their potentialities and proneness, and they have to discharge the duties so that the society can be well run. Society will run only when all the different aspects of social activities that have been therefore well performed. And that's why there are four varnas which have been created: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. Brahmana, they do have the proneness and also that of the potentiality that they therefore engaged in teaching, learning. They possesses all noble qualities, and here they always therefore engage in teaching um, the noble thoughts to other people. Therefore, they lead the society, and therefore they enlighten others with the knowledge of the scriptures and virtues. So that is their. Therefore, this is their duty which have been assigned to them. And second one is therefore protection. The society is to be protected from internal and external conflicts and conflicts mostly. For that, here another class that have come out that is known as Kshatriya. Kshatriya means they have been the potentiality to fight when it is required, and they have the propensity to come forward when the situation arises, and that's why they do have vigor, strength, and capacity to fight at the right situation at the right moment. And this is therefore Kshatriya Varna. They therefore take care of the society, protects them, society, gives therefore safety and security to the society. And third one is therefore known as Vaishya, who are engaged in agriculture, business, trade, and therefore they are accordingly are therefore um, having the potentiality and proneness to do all these activities. And last one known as your Sudra, they should not be considered to be the low caste people. No, low caste. There is no question of caste, but they are having the duty to serve other people. So this is therefore the four classes, and this is how we can say division of the society into four different classes on the basis of their potentialities and proneness, and so that the society can move, can work, can therefore grow in a very balanced way. And here there is no such higher and lower. All these therefore varnas, even though they do perform different activities or different duties, which therefore considered as their dharma, but there is nothing called higher and lower. So therefore, this is the known as your varna dharma, and therefore varna dharma here means that is the division which is made into four different categories, and they have to perform their duties accordingly, so that they will therefore discharge their duties, dharma. And Arjuna, he was very he was taught by Sri Krishna that being a Kshatriya, it is your duty to fight, and therefore don't relinquish it, don't deny it, don't go away from this. This is the right opportunity, right situation, and here, being a Kshatriya, it is your duty to fight, and that is the um, case. That is therefore the division of um, the whole class of human beings into four different groups or class that is known as Varna Dharma. Varna, and that everybody they have to be conscious about duties and duties of their Varna. And here one thing I have to remember that Varna is not determined by means of birth. That a Brahmin son will become a Brahmin, not necessarily. If somebody is having doesn't have this the quality of a Brahmin, particularly Guna and Karma of Brahmin, then he cannot be considered a Brahmin. On the other hand, if a Sudra is having the potentiality and the propensity of a Brahmin, he may be considered a Brahmin. So therefore, there is no hard and fast rule that the Varna will be determined by means of birth. It is therefore only determined by guna and karma. And then come this another, this is known as your ashrama dharma. Ashrama here means the resting place, we can say, that the whole life of a human being is being put, classified or divided into 4 different stages. And these 4 stages of life in which he has to perform his duties. And that is known as the dharma. Dharma here in the sense of performing duty. And these are the duties which have been assigned to a particular person in different stages of life. And what are they? That, that is, first stage is known as your brahmacharya. Second one is known as your gahistya. Third is known as your vanaprastha, and fourth one is known as your sannyasa. In the first stage, particularly in brahmacharya, that is a period of learning. And learning means that during that particular period, these young people, they are going to the Gurukul ashrams, and they are having knowledge. They learn from their gurus from different aspects. Anyway, therefore there is a period of learning. They get training, and so that they can therefore meet the next stage of life, that is Gayastha, in which they will face so many problems, and how to face the problems, how to manage the society, and that they have learned from this, how to earn and everything. And along with that, they also have the practical training of self-control, how to control oneself, how one can have to control his senses. And sense control, that is the most important training that it is imparted during this particular period of brahmacharya. Then after completion of his study, after completion of this brahmacharya period, which mostly goes up to the age of 25, and therefore one comes back from the Gurukula ashram, and he therefore enters into family life, married life. And in that particular life, his duties are there, and to have the progeny, and also he has to repay back the different runas, like Pitruruna, the other runas, and he has to perform different yajnas during that particular period. And that is the duty of a householder, and that is therefore comes in the second stage of life. And then comes the third stage, that is known as your that is the Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means that is retiring to Vana, or the forest. But exactly should not be understood in that sense. But here, that Vanaprastha has to be understood in the sense that one has to relinquish or withdraw oneself from all the attachments of this empirical world. Oh, that is my house, my children, this is mine. From everything, he will detach himself. He will make him free from all sort of attachments. And that he has to develop this sense of detachment in this particular state. Being in the family, being within the family, he will not be indulged any activities, any affairs, so that he will become bound by the family bond. That therefore here is a period of preparatory state. And last stage known as your sannyasa, that one therefore give up everything and he enters into the forest. In the sense, he becomes a sannyasi. His only objective is to realize the truth and attend to him. And therefore, he gives up everything and he moves like a monk, and therefore performs his duty of a monk, and thereby he tried to realize the truth, God, and try to get the liberation or mukti. This is therefore the different stages of life, and each stage one has his duties, specific duties to perform, and one has to therefore take care of all his duties in different stages, and that is known as our ashrama dharma. And besides this ashrama dharma and varna dharma, also we find in our Hinduism, that is Purusartha. Purusartha is the values, and this is the supreme goal of life. Purusasya artha purusartha. Purusasya artha means that is the significance of life. What is the meaning in life? That is therefore the objective here. And this Purusartha, as you know, it is refers to in our Hindu tradition that dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These are the four virtues, and these four virtues are to be inculcated and followed, and thereby one can get rid of the suffering and attain the ultimate goal of life. And out of these four, the last one is known as moksha. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Moksha is known as parama purusartha. Moksha means liberation. Liberation means one will become free from the clutches of this the cycle of birth and death, and one will become one with the absolute. That is moksha, mukti, liberation, and that is the goal here. So therefore, here in the schemata of these four virtues, that the moksha is the ultimate goal. That is therefore the end in itself. That is the end in itself means that is the end, and that end is to be fulfilled or can be attained by following other three. The other three, they are therefore the means. Dharma, artha, kama, they are means, whereas this moksha is the end. And values are of two different kinds. You can say that is intrinsic value and intrinsic value. Particularly here, if we say that the moksha is having intrinsic value in itself. But these others, the dharma, artha, kama, they are not having intrinsic value, rather they add value to others. And here in this particular dharma, artha, kama, moksha, the proper order I think will be kama, artha, dharma, and moksha. In the sense, kama, which refers to kamana, vasana, or desire, and the desire for what? Desire for the existence. That for existence, human beings they desire so many things. But what is the basic desire? And basic desire is to live, for which one needs food, clothing, shelter, etc. etc. I mean, very basic necessities of life. In order to live, the basic things which we require, that is therefore to be pursued. And pursuing the basic needs of existence is therefore a virtue, and that is therefore known as kama. That means your desire must be minimized, and that has to be limited to only the minimum necessities of life or existence. And we need a house, but this doesn't mean that we need a number of houses in different places. We need food, but doesn't mean that we need food which is very, very surplus for us. No, basic, minimum. So for the second, then to give rise to the second value or virtue, that is known as your kama. Sorry, kama give rise to artha. Artha is the here wealth. Artha has different meaning, but if we take it in the sense of wealth, that in the sense that kama or desire is to be fulfilled by means of artha. So artha is required to fulfill the basic needs of life. And now the question is how much artha is required? And that is again that we have to desire for the artha or artha. That amount of artha is required, which is therefore necessary for fulfillment of our basic needs, not more. So this is therefore the artha. That is a virtue, because unless we have artha, we cannot therefore fulfill our basic needs, and therefore we cannot sustain our life. And artha and kama, if they will be left free, then that will become disvalue. Because how much of artha is required, how much of a kamana will be there. So that therefore cannot be left free. It must be put under control. And that it will be controlled by whom then? It is being controlled by your dharma. So dharma here is the regulating force. It is not the religion. Here, dharma refers to the regulating force, that which regulates. Regulates what? Regulates kama and artha. That this much of kamana is the basic one, and that has to be desired. Don't go beyond. Therefore, that is the restriction which have been put by the dharma. Artha, this much of artha is required for the fulfillment of desires. Don't go beyond. So therefore, here artha and kama, they will be regulated. And when they are regulated, then will become virtue. But when they are not regulated, then cannot be said to be virtue. Nowadays, you can find that people are just like every moment, just like this is known as pipilika vritti. Every moment, just like ants, they are in search of the wealth, property, and so many things. Every moment they are running for, just like ants. Those who are 24 hours, they are engaged in collection of the food grains. Anyway, that is therefore not a virtue, that is this value. That will not help you to attain the goal of moksha. So when the kartha, kama, they are put under the control of dharma, controlled by dharma, then that will lead to moksha. So man will get moksha or mukti only by following these three together with an objective of the attainment of the goal of mukti. This is known as purusartha, and this is a very important ethical teaching in our Hindu fold, or Hindu religion, or Hindu dharma. And okay, then comes the concept of rita. This is also an important concept in our Hindu religion. Rita. That you know, the world is there, physical world, the whole universe. How does the whole universe run? Who makes them run? How there is a we find that there is no chaosness, that everything that runs smoothly. And here we feel there is some law, and this law are known as the natural laws are there. And this natural law therefore governs or controls the nature. The whole universe, they therefore run, that is maintained smoothly because by the operation of certain laws, and that is known as the natural law. So also the discourse of the whole the world of morality, good, bad, what is good, what is bad, how, and all these things, this morality. Because of this morality, that is known as your dharma, as you know very well, when there is a decadence of value, in Gita, you know very well, Krishna points out, when there is a decadence of value, at that moment I do incarnate. The conception of incarnation is there in our Hindu fold, that when there is a decadence of values and these values, particularly the sin that predominates over the virtues, so therefore there is imbalance in the society and society will collapse. And for the restoration of the society and maintain the society in the maintaining the balance in the society, so therefore the God incarnates. And at that time, what does he do? He therefore annihilates the sinners and therefore give rise to the virtues to grow. That is what you know. And taking that into account, here the moral order is therefore is the known as Rita. Rita refers to the moral order. That this is the order which is going on, and by that order is that the moral aspect of the universe that has been maintained. Just like the natural law, the natural order is being maintained, so also the moral laws is there, that therefore maintains this moral order. Natural order and moral order, they all therefore come under the fold of Rita, and Jita is being expressed in the form of Satya and Dharma. Anyway, so the one basic thing you have to keep in mind that Jita refers to that in Upanishad, the Jita, Dharmasya Rupa, there's so many different descriptions of being there, and that therefore is refers to this moral, universal moral order, and that therefore maintains the universe, that is the moral universe. This is in brief, we can come of the Hinduism. So therefore, Hinduism, as already we told you, is not like other religions. Other religions, there can be said to be the different sects, but Hinduism is not a sect, but it is a religion in the sense that it is known as Sanatana, eternal, which is not be restricted to any particular group or particular group of individuals, but it is open to all and can be followed by all. This is Hinduism in brief. Then we have to come to next, is known as your Sikhism. Let me take a glass of water. Sikhism. Whoa. Just 1 minute, let me see. Okay. Unlike Hinduism, Sikhism is a sect. I can say it is a sect. It is not like Hinduism. Hinduism having no preceptor, nothing of the sort. But here there is a preceptor, and the preceptor here in Sikhism is known as Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak is the preceptor, the founder of this Sikh Dharma or Sikhism. And Guru Nanak, he belongs to 5th century, and he was born in the year 1469 and passed away in the year 1539. And he came just at a particular juncture of time. And we find that during this 15th century, there is a decadence of values, and there is some sort of catastrophe in the society. And in name of casteism, name of untouchability, name of that women suffering, so many social problems that was there, and even the non-Hindus, they are therefore invading on the Hindu people, and therefore in that is a period of juncture, and during that particular period he came to he took birth, and that is the 15th century, and particularly year 1469. And the Sikhism here, you know that this word Sikh, which therefore means the disciple or Shishya, and this Shishya, which is in Pali language known as Sikha. So therefore, this is known as like this in Pali language. Shishya, disciple, is named as Sikha. So therefore, taking that Pali name Sikha, therefore this cult is known as Sikhism or Sikha. And here that he gives importance to Guru and disciple. So Shishya and Guru both are there. The Sikh Gurus, they have therefore performed a very commendable job during that period of juncture, and we find Sikhism is, though it started with Guru Nanak, afterwards it has been therefore spread, propagated by other gurus. There are 10 gurus that we believe, and mostly we find this Sikhism. Mostly that is found in India, that is in Punjab and Haryana. Besides this, also we find the Sikhs are there in different parts of India, and also outside India. Mostly you'll find many Sikh people are there in Canada and America. Sikh people are being there. Anyway, that this is the religion. There are followers of Sikhism, and with regard to social and religious background, already I have told you that is a period where um, the social catastrophe was there. The Muslims rulers, they were intolerant towards these lower caste people, and the Mughal rulers, they are religiously exploited the high caste Brahmins. So many social problems that we find during that particular period. And when the um, first Guru, Guru Nanak, who came, and therefore he propagated this particular religion to save the common people from the this catastrophe. And Guru Nanak, coming to Guru Nanak, as you know, who is the founder of this religion, and he was the founder. He was born in the year 1469, and the village where he has taken birth is known as Talwandi, and that place is somehow 50 miles southwest to Lahore. Lahore, you know very well nowadays that they are in Pakistan, and that in Lahore, and nearer to Lahore, that this place is known as Talwandi, where he was born. It is now in Pakistan, um, and Guru Nanak was largely a religious and spiritual. He started this spiritual movement. He advised his followers to resist evil, and also he pointed out them to sacrifice the martyrdom. Martyrdom means the and later on Guru Hargobind Singh, he geared on two swords known as Miri and Piri. These are two swords which have been there to Hargobind Singh, he has pointed out, and that is therefore meant for the to defend and also to pursue the political end. That is the Miri. Miri is therefore the sword which was therefore meant for the to defend oneself. And the Piri is the other one for safeguarding of spiritual pursuits. So therefore, he was giving importance on both sides. That is, taking care of the social and political well-being of the society. At the same time, also giving importance on the spiritual elevation. And Guru Gobind Singh, who is the last guru in the train of gurus, he has contributed a lot, and he was infused. He infused this material spirit into the Sikh. That is called Khalsa. That Khalsa, that is the merit that martial spirit that have been there initiated by him to the Sikh people, and that is known as Khalsa. And they are called then Singh. Singh here means the lion, and therefore they are being encouraged with this particular title, that Singh, they are lion, and therefore they should not afraid of anything. They should make use of this martial means the strength, and so that they can protect and also promote, protect individual and society from the outsiders, from the different social catastrophes. At the same time, also they can grow and to spiritual elevation. With regard to the uh, with regard to the guru tradition, already I have told you there are gurus are there, and the gurus are 10 in number, and this tradition that started in the Sikhism and Sikh community, that the first guru already I have told you, that is known as your Guru Nanak. He came in the year 1469 and died in the year 1539. The second guru is known as your Guru Anand, and he introduced this Gurumukh script, that the Sikh people, they make use of the language, the scripts which are known as Gurumukh scripts. That is therefore this Guru, second Guru, that Guru Angad, he has therefore introduced, and his period is from 1504 to 1552. And then came the third Guru, is known as Guru Amar Das, and his period is from 1479 to 1574. This Amar Das, and Guru Langar was a way of emphasizing the equality of all mankind, irrespective of birth, caste, etc. That has been introduced during this period, and particularly Langar, we shall discuss later on. Langar is community eating, or say that is food is being served in a particular place to all the people present there, irrespective of caste, creed, color, sex, and that is known as langar, and which was therefore being introduced by this guru known as Guru Amar Das, third guru. Then come Guru Ramdas, and the Guru Ramdas, very well, who has happened to be the guru of Guru Ramdas is the son-in-law of Amar Das, and the founder of the city of Amritsar. Amritsar is a very is the lovely city, very big city, and Amritsar is also very fond of because that is well known because of the Golden Temple which is there, and that Amritsar city was therefore being founded by this Ramdas Guru, and he was Guru of Shivaji. You might have heard this Shivaji Ramadas. And he also was concerned with some social reformations like sati, widow marriage. That shows his interest in, besides these religious activities, he also engaged himself in the social activities. And the next guru is known as Guru Arjuna Das. Then Arjun Das, not Arjun Das, it's Guru Arjun Das. And Arjun Das built a temple named as Hari Mandir, which is developed into the Golden Temple later on in the 19th century. The Golden Temple, which you now see at Amritsar, that was known as Hari Temple, and which was therefore being built by this fifth Guru, that is Guru Arjan Singh. And later on in 9th century, this temple was converted to Golden Temple by the then Raja King known as Raja Ranjit Singh. And he also prepared what ultimately took the form of Adi Granth Sahib. Adi Granth Sahib is the religious text of these Sikh people, and that is therefore being formed and given a particular shape by this Guru Arjan Singh, and that Guru Granth Sahib, Adi Granth Sahib, that came to exist in the year 1604. The next Guru is Guru Hargobind Singh. Hargobind. Not Singh, because Singh is being introduced by this Govinda Singh. Prior to that, there is no, this Singh was not being used. And therefore, this Hargobind Singh, Hargobind, his period is from 1595 to 1644, and he assumed two swords, already Miri and Piri, and sat on a seat and called it as the Akal Takat. Akal Takat, you might have heard this term, Akal Takat, and that is Hargobind Singh, Guru Hargobind, that has therefore started this Akal Takat. Okay, and and that's why he stands for the spiritual power. The Miri and Giri, already have told you that Miri stands for the earthly power, for the physical power, and therefore for protection, and Piri, that stands for the spiritual power, and therefore he gives importance on two aspects: being a soldier as also a saint. Being a soldier, his primary duty is to protect, and he is as a saint, he is therefore imparts the spiritual teachings, and therefore he introduced these two source in response to these two duties to be performed by each and every individual. Then next Guru, that is seventh Guru, is known as Guru Hari Rai. Guru Hari Rai or Har Rai is either Har Rai or Hari Rai. Anyway, that his period is from 1644 to 61, and he's the son of the eldest son of Guru Hargobind. He's the son of Hargobind Singh, Hargobind, and he was very soft-hearted but firm in decision. During the last days of Emperor Shahjahan, the war broke out between two of his sons, Dara and Aurangzeb. Shahjahan, you know very well, Shahjahan is the Dara and Aurangzeb. That is what that has broke out between these two brothers. The Guru supported the former means Dara, with an army of 2,000, but Dara was defeated and Aurangzeb became the emperor. Guru Harrai's son Ramrai remained with the Mughal court as a rival to the Sikh Gurus. This is you find with regard to this seventh Guru, that is known as Guru Hari Rai. The next Guru is known as Guru Harkishan. Harkishan, his period is from 1656 to 1664. And Harkishan, he became the Guru at the age of only 5 and was taken to Delhi to meet Emperor Aurangzeb. And he died there suffering from smallpox. That means Gobind Singh was at a very early age, he became the Guru, but he died because of the smallpox. And next Guru is known as Guru Tegh Bahadur. You might have heard his name, Tegh Bahadur. He is very renowned, and his period is from 1664 to 1675, only a period of 11. And he was a great uncle of Harkishan. And Tegh Bahadur was a brave fighter. Once appointed the Guru, he rose to the occasion and provided brave leadership to the community. And when there was a dissent in the community, and a plot to kill the Guru, he pardoned and assassin. Assassin, so somebody was planning to assassinate him, but anyway, he pardoned him, and he was being saved from the assassination. Meanwhile, Aurangzeb started vigorous Islamization and destroying Hindu temples and closing down Hindu schools. This is the Aurangzeb, he is a very bad personality, particularly in history, Mughal emperor, and he was therefore destroying these Hindu temples and schools, and compulsory religions tax, that is jizya tax, that was there imposed by him on the Hindus, jizya karo. And this is the torture. He was therefore giving pain and suffering to the Hindus, causing pain and suffering to Hindus. So therefore, forcible conversion was also being there. He was therefore converting Hindus to Muslims. Guru Tegh Bahadur was therefore imprisoned. He therefore raised a voice against this, for which he was being put into prison. When he refused to get converted, he was therefore martyred. And therefore, he was put into prison, and he was therefore forcibly he was therefore converted, but he denied it. Because of that, he was therefore being killed in the prison itself. His martyrdom was a brave act of sacrifice for the religious freedom of the and liberty. And therefore, when he died, that therefore gave rise to the others to fight against these unjust and cruel activities of the Mughal emperors, and that therefore gave rise to the next Guru, which is known as Guru Govinda Singh. And Guru Govinda Singh is very brave, and his period is from 1675 to 1708, and he had the good qualities of his illustrious predecessors, and that's why Guru Govinda Singh, he was born at Patna and was only 9 years old when he became the Guru. Sikhs were had of struggle against the Muslim rulers, and there is little doubt that Sikhs were torn into the incomparable soldiers as a result of that struggle. Anyway, Guru Tegh Bahadur that created a sense of revolt against these Muslims, and after all, Guru Tegh Bahadur died, and Govinda Singh, as the successor of this Tegh Bahadur, he therefore thought and meditated over the matter very deeply. His two sons, they are being also killed by the Wazir Khan. Naturally, the question was, do or die? So, on Vaisakh Day, that is in the year 1699, the Sikhs had assembled as usual in a large number. He announced in that particular assembly that he needed 5 heads as offering to the Guru. Swords is in hand. With unflinching courage, he waited for the response. First one and then other 4 also offered themselves for the supreme sacrifice, that is. Therefore, he points out that let us face the challenge that these Mughal emperors, they are therefore killing and converting the Hindu people, and that's why let us stand together and let us fight against this injustice. And therefore, he called for the support of 5 young people, and anyway, the 5 people, they came forward, gave him support, and therefore he started his activities, do or die, Korava Mora, you know. So therefore, a new code was announced with emphasis on moral excellence, and that is the heroism, that is the strict discipline that is being there, And he therefore introduced the term Sikh, that is lion, and that therefore gives courage to everybody. And also, he introduced this 5K, very well. 5K here refers to the Pancha Kakra, that is known as Pancha Kakra, and that is 5K known as Kesa, that is keeping a long hair. Then second one is known as Gada. Gada means the iron bracelet. Third is known as Kacha. Kacha, that is, underdress. Then Ganga. Ganga means the comb, Panya. And Kripan. Kripan means sword. These are the five. And these 5 heads offered to the Guru, and we are known as these Panchpyar. They are remembered even now in daily prayer. This Panchpyar, or known as Panchakakala, that is therefore very important for them. The Sikh was 5 Ks, are therefore now known as the Khalsa. That is the pure Khalsa. Anyway, this is the with regard to these 10 gurus of Sikhism. And with regard to the scriptures, we can visually find out the scriptures which we find, that is the Granth Sahib is known, that is the most important one. Adi Granth Sahib, as already we told you, that is the most important scripture in the Sikh religion, and it contains the different poems, and that poems are being composed by different gurus, and like that of Nanak, who has contributed 974, Guru Anand, who has also contributed 62 poems, and Amar Das also contributed 907, Ram Das 677, Arjun Das, who has also contributed 2218, Gobind Singh, who also incorporated 115 hymns, and all poems by the Hindu bhaktas, the Bhakti movement at that time, Muslim saints, and like the Kabir, Namdev, Ravidas, Jaydev, and all these different the Saint Kabirs, and therefore their writings are also incorporated in this Guru Granth Sahib. And the first surviving compilation was made by the grandson of Guru Amar Das, and that was therefore in the year 1694. Already I have told you. And besides this Adi Granth Sahib, there are 3. The singing of the called the kirtan. These Adi Granth Sahib, the scripts which have been used known as Gurumukhi scripts, and these songs are being chanted in form of kirtanas. And Guru Granth Sahib plays a very important role in the daily life of the worship of Sikh community. And people, they very piously, they go down there in the Gurudwar, and they participate in this kirtan and chanting. In the year 1972, because of the conflict between the traditionalist and the reformist, there arose a controversy whether or not to accept this Kada Prasad from the low caste Sikh converts. The Adi Grantha was consulted, which reads like this, which therefore pointed out that upon the worthless he bestowed his grace. Brother, if they will serve the true Guru, exalted is the service of the true Guru. Brother, to hold in remembrance the divine name. God himself offers grace and mystic union. We are worthless sinners, brother. Yet the true Guru has drawn us to the blissful union. And this is your the Adi Granth Sahib, from which they referred. These words of Guru Amar Das in Granth Sahib, that settled the issue. And that's why all these controversies that is therefore settled. And that in prayer as well as also in case of the langar, you'll find irrespective of caste, creed, color, sex, everything, that they all participate together, and that is the beauty of this particular religion. Besides this Guru Granth Sahib, then we also come across another particular text known as the Dasam Granth. These are the poems of Guru Gobind Singh, which have been compiled by Mani Singh in the year 1734. Besides this, there is also Rahat Namas, and that is contains the code of conduct for the member of the tradition of Khalsa community. These are therefore the different books, and the main book is known as Guru Granth Sahib, which contains everything, prayer and kirtans. That is everything. That is the most important thing, and you have to keep in mind. And then is Gurudwar. Gurudwar, you know, that is the place where the prayer is being made, and you know the Guru Nanak, who has built a Sikh temple that is known as the Gurudwar, which is there in Kartarpur, that is known as Dharmasala. There are more than 200 historical Gurudwaras associated with these gurus, which are controlled by the Sikh Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee. There is a committee known as Sikh Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee, and they look after these Gurudwaras, that is the worshiping place or temple, you can usually say in a Hindu sense. And there they therefore pray and to gurus, and these Prabandhak Committee, they take care of all these Gurudwaras which have been there in different parts of the country. The Golden Temple in Amritsar, you know, you might have seen or you may see that they're lying inside the water. Is and in the most important place for the Sikhs, and the temple was built during the tolerant Muslim ruler Akbar's reign in the year 1761, and later on the Hindu king Ranjit Singh, who are therefore made it gold. As a you know, already think we have discussed it. Then Guru Gobind Singh founded Akal Takat, that is the throne of the immortal, opposite to Golden Temple, and introduced the military setup there. Because already I have told you here, he acted like a soldier as well as also a saint. And therefore, Akal Takat, that is therefore military academy, which have been therefore established just opposite of the Golden Temple. And after death of Guru Gobind Singh, the ceremony Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee is the highest decision-making body based on the Sikh Gurudwara Act, which is passed in the year 1925. Guru Gobind Singh, before his death, installed Adi Granth as the living Guru of the Sikh. So, this is how you see these Gurudwaras are there, and these Gurudwaras are being controlled and ruled by different the Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee. And then let us come then to the next person. This is there, you can discuss it. Then is known as Khalsa movement. Khalsa, and this is the during the reign of Aurangzeb, who was very much oppressive, and he therefore imposed a particular tax known as the hill tribes in the UP and as well as in Punjab. Because of that, they revolted against this emperor, but the tribes got divided amongst themselves on the basis of the caste and race. The Sikh army under the leadership of Guru Gobind Singh decided to form an army that was free from caste consideration. Like Naji Govind Singh therefore believed in to war and will to power. Blessed is he, says Govinda Singh, in this world who cherishes war in his heart and same time does not forget God. That means therefore here war and God, they both have to be followed. War for protection and God for the spiritual elevation. And Govind Singh, in a letter to Aurangzeb, therefore wrote that when affairs have gone beyond all means, it is virtuous to take a sword in hand. I have been forced to come to arms and to enter a battlefield. That has been the letter which is written by him. Khalsa in Persian means, Parsi language, it means pure. A new fraternity was therefore started by Guru Gobind Singh, and on the Hindu New Year Day, that is on 13th April 1699, that was being established, the Khalsa. During the Hindu New Year, that is celebration, Guru Gobind Singh, with an unsheathed sword in his hand, asked for a head up for the cause of Dharma. When everyone backed out, 5 of the backward caste came forward. He therefore baptized them and in turn got baptized by them. They were called the Panchapyare. Already I have told you, it's Panchapyare. He was of the opinion that Indians had an infinity complex. So he advised his followers to live courageously but not dangerously. This is the Khalsa which have been therefore being established in there just to fight against all sort of evils and to save the common people from the injustice. And with regard to rituals and ceremonies of the festivals, and we find that Nanak was strongly against any kind of pilgrimage, and he was not in form of support of pilgrimage, and that also we know in our literature. We cannot. Why shall we go outside? If we serve the God here, then there is no need of going to any pilgrimage. So also he talks about the same thing. He says one gains but a seed's weight of merit. So therefore, by pilgrimage, one gains nothing. Through pilgrimage, austerities, and benevolence, one might rather mind God's bidding on the cleanse himself. This is how we find that pilgrimage is not being supported, accepted by Guru Nanak, and he therefore gives importance on love, love in heart and soul, and going on pilgrimage. Therefore, he says, you may indeed gain some reverence for water, but all places of pilgrimage are valueless, even though the pilgrim drowns himself in Kasi. That means he is not in favor of pilgrimage. And now we find that there are pilgrims groups in the Sikh community, and therefore they do give importance on the pilgrimage, and they do have different festivals, and they do celebrate these different festivals. And besides this, other festivals are there. I'm not going in detail. Now to come to the ethical teachings in Sikhism. In ethical teachings, we find that it is out and out ethical, and we can say that this religion in Sikhism is based on ethics, or it is ethical based, or ethical religious religion, we can say, and it gives importance on war, worship, and charity. This is the important thing, that war, worship, and charity. That is, kirth karo, naam japo, and gand karo. That means here work, worship, and charity on which this gives importance. And second one is known as self-reliance. That is the greatest obstacle on God realization. Therefore, everybody, they must have this self-reliance. They must rely on self, and therefore they have to manifest in lust, anger, greed. All these things have to be given up, pride, and that's why one has to give up all these, which therefore stands on the way of spiritual elevation. And third one, he talks about that it is the householders that is should seek God realization. God realization means God realization through renunciation in is easy, but it is the more challenging, difficult while being actively involved in the work. So that's why he gives on this charity. And I already have discussed that Sikhism was against this caste system, the untouchability, and the torture of the women, that is the poor status of the women, and they are all against this. Even they are also against this early marriage and other social evils. And so we can say that this is in gives the importance on all these social activities, then charity, then inculcate moral activities within oneself. So that means, therefore, ethics is therefore is most important aspect of this particular religion, and therefore it is this religion can be said to be more ethical than spiritual. Okay, this is in brief with regard to Sikhism. So we can say that both Hinduism and Sikhism that we have discussed in brief, and thanks to you all. But now nobody is there in the screen, and thank you all. Let me finish here my talk.